Biologos are semi-evangelical elites with a strong left-leaning bent as far as their politics go. And, of course, they're the folks that are strongly opposed to creationism, especially seven-day creationism or young earth creationism. I'm not sure they would say they're opposed to intelligent design so much, but they're very strongly in support of a full-throated embrace of at least what used to be called, back in my day, theistic evolution. That God sort of started all this stuff, and then that's how it all got going. Anyway, so Biologos, you will normally find them on the left side of most issues. So they put out an article just a couple weeks ago, in essence saying that Christians should be the first ones in line to be vaccinated against COVID-19. And the way I put it when I first saw it is Biologos is already in the bus with their sleeves rolled up. And they most certainly are. What makes it interesting was the announcement from President Trump yesterday telling the states to start setting aside locations for vaccinations right around the time of the election. Which I assume means that he has been given information that at least one of these vaccines that are in stage 3 trials will be mass produced and available by early November. Now, I'll be perfectly honest with you, the chances of that are very, very small. And we all know that people tend to massively underestimate all the necessary time elements in the production of such things. But let's say it happens. The argument, as we all know, is going to be very, 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 very obvious and very straightforward. And it will go along these lines. If you have already been wearing a mask so as to love your neighbor, then the next thing that you must do is you must be vaccinated so as to love your neighbor. And if it turns out that these are similar to flu vaccines in that they do not provide lifetime immunity, either requiring boosters or, like most flu vaccines, requiring seasonal vaccination, then that's something you just need to be doing regularly. And I am not having to wear a tinfoil hat because this has been in numerous articles, published articles in various sources, that the documentation of your immunization is going to be extremely important in future access to travel, international travel, could be internal travel, all travel, in airplanes and things like that. Who knows how far this will go? There are certainly lots of people, especially people who are in charge in Victoria, Australia, who want to use these things to massively increase government monitoring of movement, control of individuals, expression, words, everything. So if you've already bought the masks show your love for others argument, then vaccines will show your love for others even better than masks will. And so that's why Biologos is already in the bus with their sleeves rolled up. And look, I am not against all vaccines by any stretch of the imagination. I have been poked and prodded. What?
So you are further out from it than I was right on the border. You noticed I don't have that mark.
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Wow, I do not have that mark.
The polio thing?
Somehow, in my youth, I did not get the polio vaccine.
Huh.
However, I was told and have been told by doctors for years that I need to watch out for Hep C. Gee, but they'd been doing it for years. How did they not know that they were spreading hepatitis? For almost a decade, they were giving out that vaccine. And they were.
I'm not sure what you're referring to.
So they used,
you mean the polio vaccine?
Yeah,
was
the
spread
polio
hepatitis.
vaccine. They used a hypodermic needle that used air, and the particles from the guy who got the shot just before you, went blowing back into the device. And then gets shot into you the next time around. Next thing you know, they're spreading Hep C all over the place, and it doesn't manifest until you're in your 50s.
Yay.
Yeah, well, but then, they're all smart. They know what they're doing. I mean, we should trust them, right? Because they've never, ever, ever had problems before.
No, the 1976 flu thing didn't happen, and none of that happened. But look, I'm not against all vaccines. I think Jonathan Edwards would have been against all vaccines for other reasons, but I am not against hearing the argumentation. My understanding is, for example, that the front runners in this vaccination program are genetically manipulated substances that imitate a certain element of the COVID-19 virus that then causes your body to produce antibodies against it that are also effective against COVID-19. It's obviously a very interesting area of science, so on and so forth. Okay. I'm not saying that just simply on principle, I would never take a vaccine against COVID-19, even though, to be honest with you, I don't take flu vaccines either. And the reason I don't is I almost never get the flu. And the reason I almost never get the flu is that I work very hard at maintaining my immune system, and therefore I almost never get the flu. So why should I take a vaccine for something I almost never get? And that would be the same thing with COVID-19. And you say, how can you turbocharge your immune system? There are ways of doing so. The most effective way is taking care of your gut, because a lot of your immune system is found in your gut, and being in shape, just not being morbidly obese, being active. And I realize I am insanely active, a whole lot more than most people would be. I was listening, Rich just went like this. Yeah. I'm on track for 9,000 miles on bike this year, and that's a little bit much. I realize that, but I don't see the need for it. But I'm not saying that it would, just on principle, that I would never do it. But here's the thing. Here's what I want. Minimally, absolutely minimally, I want 5 years of documented testing. This is a genetically modified substance. I think it's based on RNA, which can be taken into the genetic structures of living beings and might have impacts years down the road that we can't tell or predict right now. So minimally, I'd like to see 5 years of studies. And of course, we're not going to have 5 years of studies until 5 years from now. 10 would be nice. And of course, you know that part of the speed at which this has been done involves indemnification of the drug companies. They cannot be sued. You take this vaccine and you end up bedridden for the rest of your life, or blind or deaf or something else. You got nobody to sue. You can't sue the government, and you can't sue the vaccine company. They have protection. They're not going to lose anything. So once you put it in that context, then I'm going to go, I'd like 5 years worth of study, please. And they're going to say, you don't get 5 years worth of study. And so I'm going to go, well, thank you very much, but no. And yet we all know that in many countries, that's not going to be an option. In many countries already, they have said, once it's available, everyone will be vaccinated. And I think those same countries will then say, you cannot enter our country if you have not been vaccinated. That's what we're going to be up against. That's the situation. And that's why we're exchanging all of our foreign currency, which we've had sitting in the office for all the traveling, because I don't see how I'm going to be able to do it. You're looking at the computer like you just saw?
No, something. I just did a quick search on it and realized what I got. Apparently, I must have been right on that benchmark there, where they switched from the airjet gun to the sugar cube. And I remember getting the sugar cube for polio. So the fact that you're
talking ancient history here.
Yeah, but the fact that you have that scar puzzles me, because I thought they had stopped doing that. But we got the sugar cube thing, but my point here is that we don't think like you're talking about here down the road. We said we knee-jerk reaction. Polio was a bad thing, but they did that method for 8 years. 8 years.
Yeah.
And it's not until those children got into their 50s that they started realizing what had happened to them.
And by then, there's not much you can do about it. Not much you can do about it.